Hello, everyone. This is Waldorf,
And this is Statler.
and the HotFix is here. Actually, it was a week ago. We're a little behind. Almost a week ago, right?
Not to be confused with hot flashes.
I don't have those. I'm not sure about you. My voice is deeper, though, so I don't have to worry about that.
That is true. Well, I was on steroids last couple weeks ago because of my broken back. So
So there you go.
so,
Anyway, the HotFix is
and I was
here.
on the beach, so you know.
Yes.
Yes, the hotfix is here for the ninth age.
And as you can see, this was kind of designed, according to what they're saying, to knock down the worst offenders.
Right. So basically, this is just a very minor update
Correct.
of the ninth age rules
And supposedly there's more coming later.
right, and all the different rule army books.
Correct.
So, but it's all very minor, and that's
And again, it's supposed to, well, was said to be minor, but there
Right.
are a couple that are a little more than minor.
sure,
At least
but
one.
yeah.
But again, you can see what it says below. We're not currently buffing units, only nerfing worst offenders, and for the most part, they're just point adjustments and
Right.
minor
and
tweaks.
a lot of it's more clarification to words
And,
than
yeah,
anything
and
else.
in November, all books will get a significant update. Rule team is for focusing their efforts anyway. So that's kind of the background of this. Yeah,
Yeah, so we're gonna kind of
kind
run
of go
through these
it
things and
see what they got to say.
babble as we normally do.
So we start off with the Empire of Sonstal.
Yes.
The altar battle goes up to 150 points. I mean, sorry, 200. I think it was 150 is what
It was 150, now it's 200.
So now it's 200. So it doesn't change the function of it at all, just makes it 50 points more.
Yeah.
Truthfully, I don't think this changes anyone's list, except for they have to remove 50 points to make sure this thing still gets in.
No, I'd agree. I mean, it's
Right.
still a good thing.
Yeah, like I said, changes absolutely nothing about it. It's a wonderful piece. Still a wonderful piece
It
at
is.
200.
And but as I said, to me, this isn't really a problem piece. It's only when you have the other two wagons together. You
Yeah,
start
and that's
buffing
kind of the
like crazy.
problems. Yeah, but
Yeah.
it's hard to do that in a quick fix.
Exactly.
But anyway, next up we have the Highborn Elves.
Highborn elves.
Sky Sloop loses its shooting weapon and becomes 20 points cheaper.
Right. And this is really the character Sky Sloop.
What, they had a problem with a ballistic skill 7 guy firing
How bad can that be?
a repeating shot, string 5?
Yeah.
I don't see where the problem was there.
Yeah. No, that's a good fix. You can buy a magic bow if you wanted to shoot something.
Correct.
So,
And some
yeah.
of the other things were taken care of later, as you'll see as
Yeah.
well, the other parts of it.
Then the Infernal Dwarves, the Gidim Titan, they raised it. They kind of double nerfed it. They raised the price and they dropped the ward save from a 4 to a 5.
Right.
I guess the feeling was it was
too
too strong for
strong?
the table. Not as strong as it was in the days of 8th edition, but
No, when you lived in fear of that
when you
kind
leave
of
the fear of the thing. But so it's fine. I mean, I think the Infernal Dwarves have a lot of areas for attention, but
I'm looking at this and I'm like, I'm actually happy when I see that thing on the board because it means there's less of their grunt troops that
Yeah,
are
exactly.
god awful. But anyway, so it's what
Yeah.
it is. And speaking of
speaking of weak armies,
weak armies and the wrong thing getting hit,
yeah.
anyway, the tribesmen lost their heavy armor.
Yeah, so now they can only have
A 5-up armor.
and-
So now, not that they can only have, that means they will only have a 5-up armor,
Yes.
but they become cheaper.
because they have light armor and the device that does everything.
And the
Also
device
known
that saves the world. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I've made fun of this before. I mean, it's like, well, how much would I pay for a magic item that gave me +1 initiative, +1 attack, +1 armor, and what was the other thing? +1 armor, +1 initiative, +1
Parry.
attack, and parry. How much would I pay for a magic item like that? I don't know. 20 points, maybe?
Yeah.
Anyway. But no, that's a common item that they get for 6. No, it's fine.
Well, it depends on what's
Yeah.
holding it.
Anyway, just a little bit of bitterness there. Sorry.
Could be that game you had last night.
Could be. So what is this?
Sylvan Elves, Entwined Roots. Now the Thicket Beasts have a maximum size of 6. This was really to stop the Death Star builds, so you build maximum Thicket Beasts, make them all. Entwined Roots gives them Strength 5 attacks.
Okay, so you can still have it, but you can only have it in a unit.
You can only
of
have it in
6.
6.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, this is one way to do it. I kind of think they should have just taken the banner option away, so they couldn't fight in extra
Additional
ranks. But this is fine.
Vampire Covenant, and this is also wider spread than this, but
Yes.
Ethereal is a special rule change to be a 5-up ward save that improves to 3-up against mundane attacks.
Yeah, and we'll talk more about this when we talk about the rules. But
Right.
this, I don't think it has a. I think it's going to have an impact on the builds for vampire counts.
Yeah, it's kind of a wash.
Yeah, because it gives you a bonus, but it also hurts you. So,
Yeah.
Green Knight, he's so expensive. He's not. Even though they drop him a few points, it's not on this list for Kingdom of Equitaine. I think it's 195 now. He's not being taken by it because he's just competing against other things that are just so much more important in the army, and he costs a lot for only having 3 wounds. So I don't think this change is going to impact him one way or the other as far as being taken, except by me.
Yeah, except by you, because you like him.
I like him.
The Plague Pendulum went up to 215 points. Okay. Again, I don't see point costs really affecting a whole lot.
Well, I mean, it depends how severe they are. I mean, this was a decent increase in points. It was like 65 or something.
Yeah, I
like
think so. I think it used to be.
So, if you're gonna impact something in points, I mean, I never thought much when somebody raised something like 15 points or 10 points or 5 points. I don't think that impacts anything. But when you start getting into 50, 100 points, it makes
this was 65 points. That's a
pretty big hit.
Pretty big hit.
Especially with Skaven, you can buy like half an army with 65 points.
That's like a 50-man unit, isn't it?
Exactly. So,
But that's okay because they got low leadership. Don't worry about it.
yeah.
They'll run.
maybe no one will notice.
And yeah, so.
But this is fine. It's a good thing, and it was probably under cost.
I've played several games against the Skaven.
Yeah.
I really have lately.
Yes,
And
I'm aware of that.
if we're talking about worst offenders,
Abomination coming
I've got a long list, and this thing was nowhere near the top of that list.
Yeah.
Anyway, so maybe later
Yes.
when they talk about these other things coming up, where the rule book changes. I mean, the army books changes.
And which takes us to
the
the army
rule
book
book
changes.
Oh, that was the army book changes. Now we're in the rule book changes.
Oh yes, sorry.
And that was around here somewhere, wasn't it? Yeah, right there. There we go. So let's see what we got here.
Version 1.1.
Version 1.1 of the rules.
The-
Multi-part models. Whenever a rule, ability, spell, so forth, and so on affects a model, all parts of the model are affected. Unless the rule specifically states it only affects a model part.
Just a clarification.
Clarification. I mean, most of these you'll see are clarifications.
Yeah, and a lot of them are pulled from the VAC, so
Yeah.
which is a nice thing about the system. I mean, if they're going to keep, increasing the VAC, we just don't notice. Actually, it's up to 8 pages now.
Yeah, exactly.
But-
Knock the fact down and bring them in.
Yeah, and bring them to the rules, and they keep doing that. That's great.
Yeah, keep the facts small, and update the rules. That's great. Anyway, scatter die, basically stating I'm pretty positive this is just saying that you have to roll the
second die.
second die.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's what this is all
So
talking
people
about.
say they can't misfire.
Yeah, I believe though the way it was written initially, it could be interpreted that you didn't roll the distance if you rolled a hit, therefore
Right.
you could not misfire if you
Right.
rolled a hit. So, again, clear it up. What is this one?
This seems to be
Priority modifiers. Okay.
this priority is applied to all modifiers, not characteristics modifiers. The last statement.
Oh, okay, yeah. Not a lot there, right?
Yeah, just clarification, I believe.
This one's just stating if you do a stand and shoot, after you do your stand and shoot, then you become a hold reaction.
Right, because before it was silent and people could interpret it different ways. Although, as we've chatted, I actually wouldn't mind if Fast Cavalry had the option to shoot and then run away. It'd be very, historical.
Add another
Yeah.
reaction, fire and flee.
Yeah, basic
Yeah.
fire and flee to them would be kind of a
For Fast Cav, that would be kind of neat. But
Kind of a neat
Fast
thing.
Cav already kind of have
and skirmishers,
a lot of special rules and stuff, but
Yeah,
still that would be kind of nice.
Yeah, it'd be kind of neat, but otherwise, yeah, it's just another clarification.
Aligning units, basically when you do the aligning, you have to turn towards the enemy.
Right, can't back
Yeah.
up
Yeah.
to do some weird things.
And then maximizing contact down here. What's this?
You can't charge more than one unit.
You
That's
can if you have to.
if you have to, but it's a priority now. That the first thing, you can't charge more than one unit, and then if you can't avoid it, then you can
Right.
do it.
But so if there's a character the character wedge between two units, and you've got a horde charging, you can charge the character and hit a unit beside him.
Right.
Right?
Yep.
Still. So, I mean, if you have to.
Right.
But if you charge one of the units on the end, then you have to maximize it off to the
Right.
left, and that way not hit the guy in the middle or whatever.
Exactly. So if you have that character, you better back him up a half inch.
Yep.
The-
Pivots and wheels. The distance moved by the unit is equal to the distance covered by the outer edge. Yes. Basically saying the pivots, you're paying for what you move on the outer edge, right? I don't know why.
well, this is for when the unit wheels,
Correct.
not to be confused with pivots, which are different. So yes,
Yes.
it's just the distance on the outer edge.
Right.
I don't know, I'm sure it was a reason for the clarification, but
More than 10 inches from the start, making. There are models in the unit that were more than 10 inches from their starting position, making this move illegal. Ah, okay. On the march move. Figure
Right.
7. Yeah, okay. They're just saying figure 7. Figure 7.
that is figure 7.
Okay. Figure B, I guess.
Yeah, B
They're talking about.
or D. So yeah, and this is one of the last changes before when they basically, when you're moving distance, it's always the direct line of the farthest move. It's not
Correct.
taking the wheels into account.
Correct, because the guy doesn't actually run out there at 20 inches and then wheel off to the right for
Right,
20 inches
right.
and, you know, do that big.
Right.
We used to talk about that parade wheel.
Yes.
The preference where you just move forward and the guy turns. You don't swing way out to
Exactly.
the right as an option, but
Right.
no, not a lot of game systems have adopted that.
Yeah.
Anyway. Moving on. We have, here we go. If a vortex template moves in the direction from the initial position towards the chosen target. Again, clarification that they needed for some reason, right?
Right.
Not sure what the...
Yeah, I'm not sure on that one either.
What's this?
Model part.
Oh, add +1 to the result of this roll for each non-fleeing model part. This is for the Infernal Dwarves mount that channels as well.
Yeah, yeah.
The Llama, is it the Lamasu? What is
Yeah,
that thing?
I think the, don't the Saurian Ancients have the, doesn't that have a
Do they have it as well?
ability?
Okay.
I don't remember.
But that's what they're talking about.
Yeah, yes.
That's why it was clarified.
Right.
What do we have here? Miscast. Oh. Caster must take a hit on this one.
Suffers a hit.
Yeah, and then the caster must take one hit.
Right.
Multi-plot models consider more than one wizard, so one hit for each model part. Okay, again, Infernal Dwarf guy, or if the Saurian Ancients have one as well. You know, if he's riding that wizard creature, then they both take a hit,
Right.
right? Wrong.
Multi-part model. I'm just making sure I'm reading it. I understand correctly. Multi-part models consist of more than one wizard. Yes, yes, correct. They both take a hit. Yes.
Okay, and 10 to 12. Remember that the wizard loses one spell for each level lost,
Right.
and the first spell lost is the miscast
right,
spell.
which is just basic clarification.
Right.
Raise models.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can't place them. You can't. They go away.
They're gone. So clarification there once again.
Yeah.
And that's kind of, I guess, important with how raises work in the ninth age by adding ranks.
Right.
Yeah. Not files.
Yeah. Just a clarification. Rank and file models in base contact with an enemy or in position to make a supporting attack. It may choose to upgrade number 2 anyway.
Right. And it's
You
the
can
supporting
hit
attack
the-
piece.
Yeah. You can hit the rank and file.
Yeah, because I don't think that was clear on the supporting attacks.
Fight through characters.
Yeah.
Pursue distance. Unless the charge is using its pursue distance to roll its charge, unless the charge is impossible to complete. Okay. I guess for some reason, which facing a charge out before the initial pivot. Okay. It's just clarifying
It's just clarifying how
the
that.
pursue after combat,
Right.
running into somebody else, right?
Right.
One or more successful to wound rolls are made. If the save is passed, the attack is disregarded.
Ignored may have been a better word, but yes.
Then disregarded, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember quite what this was for, but I remember seeing something about this on the Q&A board.
I don't remember this at all.
Back to the Q&A board thing, I still wish people that were not rules people would... I wish the only people that would answer the question were the official rules people.
That would help.
Because it sometimes gets confusing when somebody answers something incorrectly and then gets corrected and then
With so many people on there, it gets
starts a bit of a
you
day.
get lost.
I mean, people are trying to help and give the guy a quick
everyone's trying to
answer.
be helpful,
I understand, but anyway, sorry. What do we have here? Oh. Ridden monsters can use the armor save of the mount only.
This is just putting it in another section so it's clear, more clear. I think
More clear?
it's come up a couple of times. I've seen on questions, even though it was in the rules. So
Is more clear proper?
more clear or clearer? What do you prefer?
Clearer, maybe. All weapons or armor that are not magical or mundane.
Another thing to be clearer or more clear. It's basically under the mundane equipment, so you can find it.
Which is kind of funny. Under the mundane heading,
Yes.
it tells you that these are mundane items.
Yes, yes.
Anyway, it's just kind of funny.
I think they're just,
Yeah.
bookending it. It's under the magic section. Put it under this one. Helps people find it.
What's this?
Choosing a weapon.
When a model is attacked by a ranged attack. Oh, yes.
Yeah,
We talked about this.
Right. This is the. Yes, you have to use your shield when you get metal shifting attacks.
But I'm a weapon master. I want to go great weapon.
Yeah.
Can
How
I?
can I do that?
What's the problem?
Exactly.
It says I get to pick. Catapult determining who is the target of the template. Everybody under the initial placement. Therefore, just when you're trying to place a template that can't target your own models, remember, this is just saying everyone under the place, not just under the hole, not in any place it can drift, just under the initial placement.
Yeah. So this is more just straight clarification.
And a lot of these are just people.
Almost all these are clarifications to fact questions. Absolutely.
All right, so here we go.
Yeah, this one is a interesting word.
You want to try this one?
If the character does not have a sufficient move to reach its desired position, comma, it may only join the unit if the unit has the same troop type or the character is a war platform, comma, and the unit has at least one full rank. Wow.
I stared at this for a little while.
Yeah.
And I know the intention, and I stared at this for a little while.
Yeah. I think that's one thing the 9th Age folks need to look out for, is not turn into WRG rules where there's lots of commas and semicolons and colons and statements, as the average reader gets confused very easily. So, yeah, too many commas, you're better off splitting a sentence up. But having that said, basically it's just it's a clarification of when you're joining units. It's saying that if you have the same troop type and you join up, you have to move to the closest point. If the unit, and you can do that only if you're the same troop type and the unit has at least one full rank.
Then you actually, what they're saying is you can actually move beyond your normal move characteristic to get to that legal point.
So basically, if you're a non-matching troop type, you can't. You actually have to get to where you're going, or if it doesn't have a full rank. The one thing, did we check for determining a full rank? Because fast cavalry, for the purposes of combat, has zero ranks.
But I think they do have a full rank.
But they have a rank for the purposes of how ranks are determined.
Correct.
Ranks and files.
I believe you're correct. We did not look it up, but
yeah. So I think this one might still be could be interpreted different ways based on that. So.
And the reason I highlighted this little section is if you take that out,
it's easier to read
temporarily. It's much easier to read.
Yeah.
This kind of needs to be rewritten a little bit. I don't know how, but
it's still a mouthful.
It is.
I think you just make the statements and you just put bullets below listing what the characteristics are.
And this was the whole thing with this was it was to stop the teleport, what they called what was referred to as the teleporting characters.
Right.
A guy in a chariot bumps into the very back of this big conga-lined fast cav unit and
shoots
jumps all
forward.
the way to the front.
Right,
So,
right.
I mean, that was the intention of this.
Yeah, and the rule.
As far as I saw in the
and
notes.
the rule's fine. It's a good clarification fix. It's just can be written a little differently.
Right.
And I think they address the fast cav
Yep.
and skirmisher or light troop consideration.
Right. And then down here below, they're just telling you if a unit is joined by a character or left by a character, which I think is later on. The
Yes,
next
it
one
is.
down.
It's the next page. Yeah.
Basically, you're counted as two individual separate units for who moved and who didn't.
Right. So if you march into your unit of handgunners, you can still shoot without a moving penalty.
Correct.
Yeah.
The unit can. The character
Unit
counts
can.
as marching or
Right,
whatever he
right.
did to get there. And there's the section
And
on
there's
the leaving.
the leaving part. Yeah.
What do we got? Front rank. Oh, this was another little clarification. When moving a unit that includes models with front rank, basically if you have a character in a unit, you can organize them into a new position as part of the move. If your
Right.
advance, move, march, wheel, or reform was the old rule.
Right.
The clarification came because basically during a charge you can wheel,
Correct.
which
Allowed you to
needed to
shift
be
your guys
cleaned
around.
out, which,
Yeah.
as written, it allowed you to shift your guy during a
Right.
charge.
During a charge, as long as you did a wheel.
Correct.
See?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you?
Don't charge you for straight in because that's going to be a
Yeah.
problem.
You can always wheel a little bit.
Yes.
Yeah.
I guess that's it. So 23. What do we got down here? Oh, this is a weird one. The mismatching base size where he is not counted. He's counted for the number of files if you're mismatching base. Right? They will form a file of one model. Yeah. This was the weird thing where bolt thrower hits the side of a unit that has two 20mm, two infantry guys, and a guy on a horse.
Right.
Hits the flank of it. According to the bolt thrower rules, it can do a maximum of 1 wound per file if it hits you on the side.
Right.
So
One attack or
one, yeah.
yeah, because it's multi-wound.
But I mean, it could do a maximum of 1 attack per
Right.
guy, and the rules where you ignore the mismatching base mean that out of those 3 models, you could possibly only hit 2.
Right.
So they just fixed that so you could hit all 3.
Yeah, I don't actually like this because if I got a unit of, you're basically adding a file.
Correct.
I've got 25 guys, 5x5, and I happen to have the character out there, and now I'm going to hit, instead of hitting
6.
5, I'm going to hit 6 guys because he's there, even though he can't be targeted.
Even though he can't be targeted, he
Yeah.
adds 1 more to the
Yeah,
possible numbers of
At the last
wounds.
moment, the bolt bounces off somebody's shield and hits the guy behind him. So, yeah, I'm not crazy about that. And since with small, tiny units, you get to pick your targets anyway, I think you get the
You get what you're looking
Yeah.
for anyway out of it.
yes, but I mean it's not a big deal. But,
Yeah, one way or another, it's
yeah,
not a huge deal.
yeah,
Some green in here somewhere.
Yes.
Oh.
make way.
Oh. Make way with a non-base contact with an enemy model may move into contact with an enemy model. This enemy model must be in base contact with the character's unit. Oh. I guess you can't hop way out to the right and join and fight this character out here.
Right.
Is that what that's doing? That's pretty funny. Okay. And I can see the problem if somebody was trying that. You got the front unit, character 1 pops all the way outside the unit to
Right.
fight this
Because
character
the guy's
sticking
sitting
out
over
over
it.
here.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. That's what I guess. That's what I'm reading.
That's what I'm reading also.
Um,
Of course.
and by the way, we're putting our own spin on all this
exactly
stuff.
what we're reading and what's really intended are maybe totally different
Exactly.
things.
And
But
you
we
know
don't.
what?
But we don't care because it's our channel.
You're gonna get yelled at for that.
That's true.
Anyway.
Who's going to yell at me? Does anybody even listen to our channel?
No.
Well, I'm sorry. They listen to you. They don't seem to listen to me because I don't exist.
You don't exist.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually funny.
Yeah.
Well, if you listen to some of those early recordings, you didn't.
Yeah, that's true.
What do we got here? Fighting a challenge. If one of the models are killed in the close combat phase before the other model had a chance to make all its attacks, with one or more additional value, that's not carried out. Yeah. You can still use all your attack. You can still use your initiative 0 attacks and all your attacks just to
I think this is just
to
rewritten.
run up overkill.
I think this is just rewritten.
Yeah.
Because this is
Because it was there before. I think they just cleaned it up.
Yeah, I think it's cleaned it up because you could do that before. Yeah.
Right. With the stomp. Yeah. Okay.
Right.
So if my spider with the mount, when it kills some guy, the guy still gets to pound you. Even if you're dead from the spider attacks, he can pound you with his great weapon.
Exactly.
Just to jump up and down on
And
him.
then thunder stomp him.
And then thunder stomp him as well.
Yeah.
Because I actually kind of like that rule. Because I think it it kind of would demoralize the enemy if they see some spider jumping up and down on your dead general, wouldn't it?
I would think so.
I would hope so.
And it just seems to fit the whole concept of the
the
world that they're trying to represent.
Yes.
Being so brutal.
What do we got here? Want to tackle this one? What do we got? Champions.
Oh, this is just talking about the allocation of.
Oh, you can't allocate shooting attacks onto a champion?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, here's this. But
Of course, the way it's written.
Question.
Yeah, it is written. Oh, no,
Or
this isn't the one.
No, it's the same thing, but it's, okay, let's see.
Sorry.
We'll get to that one anyway.
Yeah. This one's different. This one is.
Talking about buildings, basically assaulting defending models can't use impact hits lances like lances, mounts protection, barding saves.
Right. And I clarify you have to send in 10. If you don't have 10, you send in as many.
Right.
All your guys if you have to.
And you have to be one of the assaulting or defending models to issue or accept challenges.
Right. And then, of course, this was there before, but just clarifying that basically cavalry can't use their barding and their charge.
Yeah, but
weapons.
they can. 10 models is on base contact, but they can still stomp you.
Yes, but they don't get impact hits, but they can stomp you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stop stepping on me. I'm inside a building.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not happy about that.
Yeah.
I'm very bitter about that from one game. It's only happened once to me ever, but I'm not forgetting it.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'll keep campaigning for that rule. Ambushing unit, if they don't enter the board by the end of the game by failing all its 3 up rolls.
This is just rewritten in a different way, but
Yeah, it counts as destroyed.
Yeah.
No, it said something different earlier.
I think it's just clarification of the wording. Yeah.
Demonic instability. It's same effect, just different wording.
Right.
The only problem I have with this is this.
Is there simplified form is not simple?
No, it says simplified formula is 2d6 plus CS minus
Yes.
LD. I know what LD, that's leadership.
I assume CS is combat score. They really should spell it out.
Yeah, but they talk about leadership characteristics, so
Right.
I don't know what the CS is.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure it's
Well, it's got to be
what I
combat
lost the
score,
combat.
but
Yeah.
yeah. So, but
anyway.
it just should be spelled out.
Please spell that out.
Yeah.
Okay. I know you're listening to me, all
Yeah.
you rules people.
Oh, absolutely.
And I know you take what I say to heart, so make sure.
Take my word. I'm telling you, they're listening to you. So because I said it,
okay.
it must be true. It's like the internet. You know,
if you read it on the internet, it's got to be true. I like that.
And our videos are on the internet, so they must be true.
All right. So here's probably the biggest change that,
Yes,
as far as I saw in this whole thing,
Absolutely.
and that is the ethereal. So, and I actually love the way they worded this, because when I read it originally, it's like, what? I don't really understand. Anyway, so basically ethereal now gets a ward save for 5 up, and it's increased to 3 up against non-magic.
Right. Very simply worded.
Really
Very
nicely
succinct.
worded.
Yeah. Yeah. The cover memo that they put on the site was a bit squirrely in this wording.
Yes.
But yeah. This is a pretty substantial change to ethereal for the game.
It is.
Your smaller units are a little more at risk than they used to be.
Yep.
So I think it kind of incentivizes you to have larger units. However, some of your, I'll call it more survivable small units, things with a lot of armor or a lot of toughness, this is actually helping them because they get that 5 up against magic. Before they were just toast.
Just taking the wounds.
Against magic. So, I don't think this is a improvement. I don't think this is a nerf. I think this is just... It's just a different way. In certain scenarios, it'll be a nerf. In certain scenarios, it'll be an improvement.
I agree. And with certain units, it'll be better than others.
Yeah.
I think of all the changes, this one is going to affect the list building more than any of the others.
Oh, I would agree.
While people adapt to the new way this works.
Yeah, for the people that have ethereal.
Correct. Yeah,
Absolutely.
it's not going to affect my armies at all.
Yeah. Well,
Unless I pull out my undead guys.
Or your Kingdom of Equity.
I will not play with that guy, so stop it.
What's wrong?
He's not coming into it. Oh, and by the way, while we're on
but-
Ethereal,
But he's green.
he's green, but he sucks.
The-
You can have him.
the-
Yeah, keep rolling those 3. Keep rolling those 1 and 2s and watch him never show up.
I do that with the other guy, so what's the difference?
It's great to have a 2-point model showing up on turn 5, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's pretty awesome. All right. The other thing, while we're on Ethereal, just as another nitpicky thing for me. Come on, people, look. It says they treat all terrain as open terrain. Nowhere in here does it say you can ride through your own units. You cannot pass through a unit because you're ethereal.
Oh, we've run into that?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Multiple times.
The-
Anyway, sorry. My own rant. You cannot walk through units. Just terrain. Sorry.
What if you're a flying ethereal?
Then you go over
Then you
them.
go over them.
You don't go through them.
Yeah, it's true.
Flying goes over.
But it's kind of like going through them.
No, it's not. You're going over.
The-
Don't start that.
Well, what if you're doing a sweeping attack? Then you do go through
We haven't got to that one yet.
them. The
And you don't go through them. You go over them and come back,
the
I guess.
sweep through. Sorry,
Okay. All right.
magic resistance.
What about it?
It doesn't grant ward saves to indirect spell results.
Oh, this is that question that always comes up about
Yeah, I don't like this clarification.
you force a guy to take dangerous terrain checks from open terrain, and
Right.
that's not magic.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't like this. I think magic resistance already is somewhat limited. You know, it only affects damage spells as it is.
Yeah.
I would kind of personally, it's just me. I wish that it really affected everything, any magic result that you
Correct.
got on your unit. It'd make it a little bit more useful.
Right. This is kind of counterintuitive, actually, because it's the spell caused that open terrain to all of a sudden become dangerous.
Exactly.
Anyway, so I kind of agree with you there where it
Yeah.
should do that. But that kind of goes along with that same thing. Well, my guy's carrying a banner which makes all my weapons flaming, but that's not magic. They're not magical flames.
Yes.
It just happens to catch on fire.
Yeah,
Anyway, which I can turn on and off as I will.
Exactly.
But that's not magic.
Right.
So,
I mean,
sorry.
I'd rather magic resistance, really frankly affected almost everything that's has a magic impact. It would make it a much more, worthwhile.
It would make it much more useful
Not
stuff.
that it's a bad thing to have, but it's just it is only the subset is pretty small.
Yep. What's that bring us to? Pathmaster. Freely choose spells from their path, even or if there is a path stated in brackets. Oh, they must use this path. This was the problem where there was something wrong with. I think it even came up with goblins that since there was nothing in the brackets, anyway. I don't remember what it was, but there was something to where they didn't have a thing in their brackets, so therefore it didn't work.
Right.
The question was whether it actually worked or not. I don't know. I'm babbling because I don't remember what it was.
Yeah, I'm not sure what this is about actually.
But I do remember this being discussed.
Yes, clearly a clarification.
Yeah. There was just an exemption. There was a weird situation where Pathmaster might not have applied, even though it obviously should have. Well, here, you're going to have to do this one because you brought it up.
When a model performs a sweeping attack, the distance moves is counted from the starting position to the point on the battlefield where it performed the attack and then to its final position. This is just telling you how to measure the movement of the unit.
Correct.
It's basically sweeping attacks. You ride through the unit, attack it, and then come out wherever
Right.
you go.
As opposed to what we saw earlier, where the wheel, where you move the starting position to the ending position, and that
Right.
was your move distance.
Exactly.
So it's just kind of clarifying the difference between those two,
Right.
in my opinion. Again, I want to point out, we could be completely wrong on all this, but it's our channel, so we're allowed to be, right?
Yeah. I don't. No, we can't be wrong. We're infallible.
There is that. This is a kind of a thing that I thought was kind of one of those picky changes they just needed to put in there for some
Yeah.
people, for the rules as written people.
And you have uneven number.
If you're an even number, so you have to go to one
Files,
side
yeah.
or the other by one model, then
Yes.
basically there was the thing going around, well, you can't place that in there
yeah.
because it's not in the middle. Anyway, just
Yeah, it's just clarification. It's fine.
clarification. I like this.
Yeah.
Clear it up. I broke my item.
Yeah, it's so bad now.
The Wizarding Hood.
We're never going to play it again.
If it's ever destroyed, the wearer immediately stops being a wizard. So disappointing.
Can't channel anymore. That's just terrible.
He won't channel. He loses his spells.
Loses spells if he has.
I guess he stops being stupid too. So I guess that's good. Got that going for him.
Didn't say that.
Well, if he's not a wizard, he can't cast.
Just says the wearer has stupidity. It doesn't say anything but the wizard.
The wearer immediately stops being. Yeah, you're right. That's pretty funny. Well, it's destroyed, so he's no longer wearing it, right? There you go. I'll go with that interpretation.
That's, of course, the interpretation.
Yes, it is.
It's the same as this guy stops being a wizard, but,
It was pretty funny.
But someone else is going to come. It doesn't say he's no longer stupid.
On the...
Just make sure that he doesn't have any magic item and arcane items.
The arcane. Well, my guy does. He usually carries a dispel scroll. It means he can't use it anymore.
Exactly. So you better use it before
this happens.
Exactly.
So you got to dispel that arcane unforging before it hits you.
Exactly.
Sorry, I used the bad word. Whatever the dispel is called now. Actually, I brought this. There was a debate. There was a discussion on this, and it's like, well, what happens when he joins the unit with that orc item, the Minonox totem, which negates all magic items?
Right.
They said the same thing. He stops being a wizard when he leaves the unit, he becomes a wizard again. So my smart-ass response to that was, well, does that mean if I don't like my spells, I can go join that unit, lose all my abilities, then leave it, and then re-roll?
That's a very Skaven-esque interpretation.
It was. I thought it was goblin-y. Skaven-y.
That's Skaven-y.
I'm going with goblin.
That's max cheese.
Don't start me with Skaven.
Because the rules are clear when you roll your spells.
Yeah, but I lost my abilities and got it back. Anyway, most of them took it for the comment it was.
I'm thinking you need to think about buying a Skaven army.
Nah, it's not going to happen. And I see a big thing of stuff here with no green.
I see no green.
Here we go. Insignificant. Units consisting entirely of models with this special rule do not cause panic tests on friendly units without this rule. Was there an interpretation that they panicked on friendly
Obviously, units? People were sending their things in front of the army. Sorry, you got to roll your entire battle line
because my Noblars got shot up.
Yeah.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah. Just clarification. It's fine.
There's some good interpretations there. I like these. Anyway, so that was.
I mean, it just shows, people will come up with everything. We'll come up with anything to interpret. Yeah. So.
Well, I mean,
and it's good that these guys are responsive and
it's actually good that they're cleaning these up because I mean, I can see some people. You always have that rules lawyer guy in the group that will try to take advantage of these.
Exactly, whether whether they're doing it on purpose or not, it's just.
Yeah, like your buddy with the old Stegodon that if you could put 20
yes.
skinks on top of it, you got ranks.
You get rank bonus, yes, exactly. With that big Hoda. Yeah. But no, I mean, it's, no, I think it's a great thing about the Ninth Age is they're doing the FAQ and they're rolling it into the rules. And, you hear some people complain, oh, they're always changing the rules. Well, the rules are, at this point are pretty darn stable. They're going to change they're going to have the bigger fix later, but I can't imagine anything. There's going to be a lot of huge changes to the rules, maybe army books, but not so much the rules. But it's good that they're keeping things up to date. That was always a complaint. It's kind of funny. You hear people back in the days of GW, oh, they're not updating the facts, they're not fixing the rules, they're rewriting the rules and the facts and doing those crazy things. And now you got the Ninth Age folks, and what they're doing is they're listening to the community and they're trying to incorporate it in a controlled way. It's not every other day. They're not back when we were doing alpha, yeah, sure, but but they're doing it in a controlled way, and it keeps the rules up to date and keeps them fresh, and it deals with, because there's always going to be
unclear things
they're unclear, or you change the challenges. While the individual mechanics of the game are simple, you start stacking them on top of each other, and you have these black swans. You have those consequences that you didn't think of because it's interrelated in some indirect way, and you change this to fix this, but down 37 levels down it happened to impact this thing. So they're keeping things up to date. I think that's great.
Yeah, I think it's really good, and like you said, it's kind of odd that some of the people that because we even know a couple people that are complaining
Yep.
about the rules changing a lot,
Yep.
or supposedly changing a lot.
Yeah.
And these people were also in that group that were complaining, like you just said, because no one
Right.
fixed rules.
Like, hey, you gotta pick your complaint. But
And
but yeah, I think that's about it.
yeah, well, before we do that,
Okay.
one other thing I'm going to nitpick on: the player, the player determines who roll. Anyway, where's the other thing where you pick sides? Generating spells, deployment zones. In classic deployment, players must pick one of the long thing. Okay, simple. To determine which player uses which deployment zone, randomize the player that uses their deployment zone. For example, a player may roll a d6, and they get to choose on a 4-up. So the person determined by the die roll chooses the table side, the deployment zone. He does not choose who chooses the deployment zone. He determines the deployment zone. They say roll a d6, and you say on a 4-up you get to choose. On a 1 to 3 I choose.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone I've ever known has rolled we roll off, and the winner chooses the side. But either way, whoever is determined to pick the sides picks the side. He does not have the option of telling the other person to pick the deployment zone. See what I'm saying? No?
No.
That'll lose you?
To determine which player uses which deployment zone, randomize the player that chooses their deployment zone.
Okay, period. Forget about that next line.
Yes.
You randomize the deployment who chooses their deployment zone.
Right.
However you do that.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you do it with a d6 roll-off. Whoever gets
Correct.
the high roll chooses the deployment zone.
Right.
Right?
Right.
So what I'm hearing all the time is people somehow are mistaking this and trying to interpret this to say, well, I won the roll, so I'm going to make you choose their deployment zone.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay.
Because whoever chooses the deployment zone, the other player is the one that gets to place the places
Correct.
first.
Correct.
So I can place my whole army. So what they want to do is they want to push that choice off to you,
Right.
so that they can choose to drop their whole army or not.
Right.
But that provision's clearly not in here. But like I said, some people are just.
I couldn't see the way this is written how someone could try to interpret it that way.
Yes. So I think I would like to see something cleaned up in this a little bit.
Yeah, I think it probably could be cleaned up.
But I read it and it seems obvious, but like I said, that's just because I'm focused on it and that's what I think.
Well, I
is
read
way
it the
is.
same way, but I'm sitting back and I'm saying, okay, could I interpret it another way? And I could. So
Randomize the player who chooses their deployment zone.
yes.
I think if this was alone, I think it would be better if this other part here was gone. I think if this was out of there, it would help a little bit.
I suppose, maybe. Or if in the example they basically say roll a d6, and on a player who rolls
yeah, exactly.
No, if they basically they spelled out the randomization a little better.
Correct. I agree, but I mean,
it's basically a 50-50 roll. So
like I said, I just came from a tournament where I had to have this discussion 4 times.
Right.
Not in my games.
Right.
But I was kind of the
sure
helping with the rules guy
Yeah.
there, and this came up multiple times.
But yeah.
So anyway, and then because then down here it says, and this is the reasoning behind it: the player who did not choose their deployment zone decides which player deploys first.
Yeah, no, I understand why somebody would want to do
Right.
that.
So you want to get to this step and
Correct,
be the guy who didn't deploy the choose the deployment zone.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so there we go. Was that confusing enough?
Probably.
It's got nothing to do with anything.
You're just an angry old man.
I'm an angry, irritated old man. What do you want from me?
Is that why your avatar has people flipping everybody off?
That's me. I'm just pointing at you, buddy. Just you. Nobody else. All right. I think that's going to do it. You done?
I've been done for about 20 minutes, so.
I don't think it would work if I didn't ramble about something, right?
No, but so the question is, are you done?
I don't know if.
And if you're done, are you finished?
Is there is there another shiny object that's flashing before my eyes that I need to talk
maybe
about?
we didn't turn this off before you find something else.
Yeah, it's a good point. All right, thank you for listening. If you have, and I don't know.
Till the next time.
If you still think about listening, come back again
Oh, yes.
after this. Goodbye.